I'm Eric Lipsy, and today I'm here with Brandon McKenzie of Human Interest. How are you today, Brandon?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Outstanding. I'm glad you were able to come on today. Today, we're going to be talking about the new government mandate or the state mandate, to be more specific, coming out about regarding retirement for employees. So, we wanted to dive in, and so maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about what that is.
Yes, absolutely. No, of course. Thank you for asking me and having me on your show. And I'm just going to quickly share my screen to kind of go into a little more details about it.
Okay.
All right. So, what is the Colorado state mandate? This is basically a program that employers, if you have five or more employees and you've been in business for at least 2 years, you have to offer some type of retirement solution to your employees that, as you can see on the screen, that are over 18 years or older, and it doesn't matter part-time or full-time, and they've been employed for at least 180 days. So that, in a broad perspective, is kind of what the Colorado Secure Savings Program is. And so the state is going to offer a plan for you to sign up for them. And I'll get a little more details here in just a moment on that. Uh, and as well, as you can see, the automatic with the state funded program is that if the employer decides to go through the government to sign up for a retirement plan, as you can see on the screen, it's showing it to be a 5% automatic default for all employees. So unless an employee goes in and opts out of it, they're automatically going to be rolled in the state program at 5% of their paycheck.
See.
And and then this is kind of course, I feel like what's going to be more of an issue for people is that, so if an employer does not have some type of retirement plan in place, whether they choose to go through an outside retirement vendor such as Human Interest, or you opt into the state program, if you don't have either one, you are going to, as you can see, you'll get a $100 penalty per employee, up to $5,000 of a penalty if you don't sign up either to the state funded plan or have some type of retirement solution in place through another provider.
So I know who's affected by it now. So there are if you have five or more employees, right, you are affected by this automatically. There's no exemptions for that, correct?
Correct. Five or more W-2 employees, part-time or full-time, you have to offer some type of retirement solution or sign up for the government program.
Now, question for you on the offering: is there any cost to simply offering it to your employees?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. That leads into my next slide. So if you were to choose the state-funded plan, there is going to be no physical like administration costs for it. It's going to be for free, but there's going to be a lot of manual process involved for that employer, where they're going to have to create those updates manually into basically their system. If you have any new hires, if you have people are terminating, if people are adjusting, and so the physical cost for the state funded plan, there is not a cost to go down that option, but there is some limits because the state funded plan is basically a Roth IRA, and the max you can contribute is $6,000 into that plan. And with that being said, you're going to kind of strong arm some folks. If you have some older demographics, they're going to want to put away a lot more than that for a year to save for retirement, as well as if you have maybe a younger employee, so living paycheck to paycheck, as you can see that it's auto enrolled. And with being auto enrolled, that employees probably don't read their emails, and then so they're going to end up taking often if you auto enroll 5% of their paycheck being taken out, and that's what's probably going to upset a few of your employees kind of if you're going through that state funded plan.
Mhm. Now, so the state funded plan is an automatic enrollment if they don't opt into, if they don't say yes or no to the program. The employee has a choice. The business owner does not have a choice to offer.
Correct. The business owner has to offer some type of retirement plan, but the employees can either choose to opt in or opt out.
Okay, but they have to make a choice.
Correct. They have to have some type of retirement solution in place, whether they're choosing the Colorado Secure Savings Program or if they choose another option for a retirement solution, like a 401k, which has a lot more flexibility, kind of going through it. And I should kind of joke about, but don't necessarily not having the government manage your retirement accounts.
Now, I know we talked about this a little bit before, but maybe just for clarity, and so maybe the audience can understand better why this mandate was put into place.
Absolutely. So that's a great question. And a big reason for this mandate in place is that at the end of the day, the government wants everybody to be able to retire. And so they're pushing and encouraging employers to then offer some type of retirement solution that so all their employees have a chance to retire. And if they don't find an outside option, the government is then of course kind of giving a kind of more of a simple retirement option for them to the Colorado Secure Savings Program. I mean, there's some conspiracy theories of other things of maybe about Social Security running out in X amount of time, and so they're trying to get this going. But of course, I don't want. I'm not going to follow the conspiracy theories. I just ultimately want to just kind of talk about why the government is kind of wanting to get everybody to be able to offer some type of retirement solution, kind of similar to the Affordable Health Care Act of the government wanting healthcare to be accessible to all employees throughout the country. Because eventually, this will be passed federally. That'll be through the legislation of every state. Colorado is about the sixth state that is going to be implementing it this year, but eventually this will be through the whole nation as well.
Okay. Now, we have these two presented here, the Roth IRA and the 401k. Are there any other options that a business might opt to use for their employees?
Absolutely. And there are simple IRAs you can use. But at the end of the day, I just want to be more educational of kind of what the Colorado Secure Savings Program is, and then how there's other options out there that you can choose to go with kind of basically using a 401k provider or using, let's just be honest, necessarily don't want the government to kind of maybe manage your retirement funds. And I joke about it, and I always kind of say about, do you want the DMV managing your retirement funds? And usually the answer to that question is what we know.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is one of the other options that they have there as far as input or offering something to the employees.
Correct. And offering a 401k plan gives you flexibility where you can match. You don't have to match. You can set long eligibility periods for, let's say, if you have high turnover at in your organization, you can set an eligibility period. They can even sign up for it for the first year. And so with the government plan, with the Colorado Secure Savings Program, it's auto enrolled from day one. As soon as the employer chooses to go down that path, they have no choice to do that. Where kind of a 401k, you have a lot more options. Kind of what's in it for the business owner too. You can tax shelter a lot of money through a 401k. You cannot do that through the Roth IRA plan. And so at the end of the day, it's kind of helping out what's in it for the business owner as well for the employees.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you mentioned already or not, but is there an execution date on this where we have to execute, like the employer has to offer this to their employees by X date?
That's a great question. And so the government is opening up that Colorado Secure program starting this coming January of 2023. And they're allowing you basically during the whole entire year to get something in place. Because if you don't have something in place by January of 2024, you're going to start getting penalized February of 2024 for it. So that's the absolute deadline, is basically having something in place by January of 2024. If not, you'll start getting penalized in that February of 2024.
Of course, when it comes to government, I'm always looking for a downside to something, but I really don't see a downside here because it's not costing the employer anything that the employee can benefit from, long term, as far as planning for their retirement. So I don't see any downside with this mandate. is there something that I'm missing here? Because I'm like, it sounds like something that would actually be beneficial for.
Yeah, no, that honestly, that's a great question, and that's kind of where I'll kind of pull up my slide again of where the kind of the downsides of this option of kind of going through the plan, and there's going to be and so you have to do the employers going to have to physically go in and make these contributions manually into a process. It's not an even flow for it. You have to, of course, add and remove employees. So long story short, I guess, instead of me reading off my screen, is that you are going to have to do basically manual labor when you have this program. And as well, the employees are automatically be enrolled into it. And some employees are not going to want to be enrolled into that plan. And the employer has to contribute 2% into that plan. And the government retirement plan is going to be post-tax. And so that is where the advantage is of having basically having like any other type of retirement solution is that you can do it pre-tax, so you can save less money that you have to pay to the government. Where of course this is a government-funded plan, everything's going to be post-tax, so they're going to get their money and plus then using it. So those are just kind of some of the disadvantages of going that. Is basically you have to do a lot of manual processes through the state funded plan, and then as well as everything is going to be post-tax, so you can't save money when you want to put away, and you can't get tax credits. And there's a lot of other options that you can do if you kind of go down a traditional route of kind of providing kind of a 401k or some other retirement solutions.
All right, thank you for answering that, and I think that's really important for employers to understand instead of just going like to a dartboard and just throwing and see what see what you land on. Is like understanding what the differences are with these different plans can actually save them a headache in the long run, which is why they should ultimately reach out to you. And Brandon is a stand-up guy. I love
Thank
working
you.
with this guy. I've known him for a little while now, and it's just been great. So I highly recommend working with him. A stand-up guy for sure.
Well, thank you, Eric. That's very nice for you to say that.
Well, I know the questions that I had definitely wanted to touch base on. You've answered already. I didn't know if there was anything else regarding this program that you think the audience should know. Have at it.
No, that's great. Great, glad you got to ask questions. And it's one of those things. I'm sure they're going to maybe have some other internal questions, and so I'm just happy to answer more further questions about maybe something I didn't cover or more some things that are going to tailor per industry or per an employee. Like if you're trying to grow, and you maybe only have 4 employees now, but you plan on growing your company over the next year, and you have over 5. So they're just kind of where those parameters are at. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that any of your audience have about the Colorado mandate, and just kind of some other options for you, for them.
Yeah, that's great, and it never hurts to kind of plan ahead. If you're planning on growing your business, just to get ahead of where you are right now, and you get that 2 extra employees, and that gets you to that level of 5, and now you have a different situation. So knowing what you're getting into when you even hire those people is probably a really good thing.
Absolutely. And not just about the mandate, but it's also you want to kind of help retain and attract talent to your organization.
Absolutely.
And a retirement solution is really one of those. After major medical, retirement is another one of those sought out benefits that people are looking for when they're joining placement employment.
Now, I did want to ask a question regarding the matching. Now, if you're matching employees, I know you don't have to do that piece with this mandate, but if you are doing that, that can serve as a write-off. Like say if you're going to end up paying a ton in taxes later, you can possibly match your employees' contributions to reduce your tax liability, I imagine.
You are absolutely correct. And right, you can do everything pre-tax, which kind of saves those FICA tax dollars. So less money you have to pay to the government by taxing, taking out those deductions before basically our government is getting a hand on it. So you are spot on for that. And then even let's just say too, you want to match your employee, but you can put a vesting period up to 5 years. So if an employee has not been there up to 5 years,
Mhm.
Every dollar you match them, you can take that back until they've at least been there for 5 years. So there's a way you can also
Okay.
save your money too, if you do decide the route to go and match your employees on the retirement standpoint.
Huh. The investing thing is a very good point because I imagine if you're doing that, it incentivizes the employee to stay with you because no one wants to keep training new people to learn to learn the processes and things like
Absolutely.
that. So, okay, yeah, that's really great. Well, thank you very much for the information, Brandon. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't offer the opportunity to let the people know how they can get in touch with you, to learn more about what you're doing, to get involved with it, to hire you, to possibly walk them through this process.
Yes, of course. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and interviewing me. I really appreciate your time, Eric. And so here's just my contact information of my email. So please reach out to brandon.mckenzie@humaninterest.com. Or, of course, you can call my cell phone at 515-494-3845. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Outstanding. Well, thank you again, Brandon. I really appreciate you again for taking the time to come on here to educate us on the new mandate coming down. I hope this is going to be something that gets employers prepared as well as employees. And again, thank you for being here.
Absolutely, of course. And thank you again for taking time to interview me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Until next time, this is Galton University.